All right, so real quick before we get any deeper into this, bans were monsters against Scoia'tael, Nilfgaard against Skellige, SK against ST, and monsters versus monsters. So we're going to jump right into it right away with monsters against Skellige, and we'll start out here with Mago's side of it. Swim, take it away.
Okay, so he's got Foglets, he's got Crones. Easy play here, start blacklisting Foglets. You're going to have to kick a Crone, and then hope that he doesn't draw the third Crone. Pretty awkward hand already. If he doesn't draw the third Crone, then he could be okay, but he definitely does give him the possibility to get a little bit RNG'd there.
Yeah, overall this is a matchup that it's not super favored in one person's side either way. It's a very skill-intensive matchup and also very hand-dependent, right? One of the key pieces we can already see is in Cameron's hand is the Savage Bear. It's a huge deal against the Foglet deck. Just being able to stop the Foglet, stopping Seleno Harpy, stopping Woodland Spirit actually is a huge deal as well. So overall, it's looking like it's going to shape up to be a very good hand right now from Cameron's side of the board. He has a lot of the pieces he needs. He has Holger Blackhand and Hjalmar combo, so there's a very uninterruptible gold body there.
Yeah, his hand is great. He's got the one long ship, the one hunter. He's got basically the perfect hand here, but he did lose the coin flip. So we see him here opening with Savage Bear right off the bat before the Foglets come out, and it'll be up to Mago if he can shut that down or somehow deny it from getting too much value.
I don't know if that's actually losing a coin flip, though, here, right? Because leading on Savage Bear is such a big deal for this deck. He gets to stop Seleno Harpy Foglets immediately with this, and he also can now, if his opponent tries to fog that row and kill the Savage Bear with it, he can just block it with a different body now. So it's actually a really good start by him, even if he doesn't lose the coin flip.
Yeah, you do lose out on card advantage, but you basically gain a few points right off. Because if you theoretically, if you win the coin flip, you can block the bear preemptively, but it's definitely one of the matchups or one of the very rare situations where the coin flip doesn't matter quite as much. So we're going to see the hunter come down here. It's going to snipe off that water hag, and it's going to start growing a little bit to the weather as the hunter generally does, because of course the rain's going to ping the bear down and the hunter's going to start getting a little stronger.
I actually really like that lead with the rain first. It means that he's guaranteed to deal with the bear. Fog won't deal with it because he can just block it, like I said. This way he gets to actually deal with the bear immediately, but it kind of looks like he wants to bow to the round early here, and he might wind up doing that with this series play, depending on what Cameron does here. Since he won the coin flip, technically, playing the series is a very powerful tool right away. So he can basically choose when this round ends. He can choose if he wants to win it or not, and if he wants to lose it, he can basically go up 2 cards while losing it. It's a really big play for him.
Yeah, Siri is... Oh, sorry.
No, good. I was just going to say that he really does need to, before he bows out of the round, he has to play a fog effect and pull the Foglets out. He blacklisted them, which means that they're going to be at a decently high spot in his deck. And he has a warrior that he wants to use, and he needs to not draw them next round. So he has to play that first there before he can bow out of this round.
Yeah, and in addition, he's got the one of Crone in this hand, so drawing either Foglets or Crones just give him a very bricked hand. But yeah, we see here Mago is looking like he's in a pretty dominant position. The conjunction of Siri with the winning of the coin flip, even though it did allow the Savage Bear to gain dominance, was very good. I really like the Rain Hag play. It really, really shuts out the potential for the Savage Bear to gain value, while... It seems kind of committal, but honestly, the Water Hag isn't really as necessary in this matchup to hold on to as it maybe in many other matchups.
I actually think this isn't a bad spot for Cameron yet, to be honest. If he gets to win this round, and even if he's giving up the series value, he has R&R plus Hjalmar plus Holger in hand. This is actually a pretty dominant, like, it's not going a bad way for him right now, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. The Ragnarok could be a major, major play here. We see that the Water Hag was dropped early, and the one risk of that is that if Ragnarok does get dropped, Mago might not have an answer. I mean, we could see something here like Mago giving up the round for card advantage, but being pressured out of round 2 by a Ragnarok he cannot answer.
I don't like that play at all, right there. The Hjalmar this early, I'm not a fan of that. That's one of his key win conditions in a later round.
Yeah.
Like, does he really need to spend this here?
It seems very, very committal, especially with the Siri already dropped. I also agree. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I feel like you want to hold it there with the Holger Blackhand. You need that strength later in the game because you know your opponent's going to be able to fill the board up with Crones and whatnot in a later round. You need to be able to fight their points early, and he's just not going to be able to do it in that final round. He's not going to be able to stack those points that much. Yeah, especially if his opponent is a Catechin.
Incredibly committal.
And yeah, Mago just goes ahead, he kills a Foglet, gets a bear out of it, goes +10 off of it, and also has a bigger target for his Catechin now. Generally in this matchup, if your opponent doesn't make a big enough unit with the Hunters or something, generally you want to eat the Hunters in this matchup because they're going to keep growing over the course of the game. Because the Brock for Hunter is getting hurt currently, it's not growing out of hand yet, but generally, if it's not big enough, the savage bear or just the bear, right?
Yes.
It just okay. It spawns just a bear. That's like your fallback plan, right? With the Gatican. So at worst, it becomes a 16-point play.
Okay, so we see Mago ducking out of this round here. Cameron using his Hjalmar to force the round, even though it is very committal. He does take the round 2 cards down because the theory is going to be going back to Mago's hand. And we think it's a round 2. Let's see these draws.
Does he have to 2-0 this? Like, just look at the hands right now. I almost feel like he has
might
to 2-0
have
this.
to. Yeah.
Like he's not in a great spot. If he just passes this round, I mean, the Shield Maiden might help here, right? But I mean, he could pass here and he's guaranteed to pull within a card, and then he'd be down a half card in the final round, but it's still not a great situation for him.
Yeah, looks like Cameron is going to be keeping his hand, the one of Shield Maiden, and the Freyas to bring back his tools, the Clan Brock for Hunter. He goes for a bear here, right? The bear is very buffed. There
yeah,
he goes.
You have to go for the bear.
Huge in this matchup. And the fact that the Holger did buff it is definitely considerable, because it means it's a pretty decent amount easier to just keep alive.
Soon to be a 6 anyway. Okay, so this might honestly, if I was him, I consider a hard pass here. You either have to, at this point, he has to commit either fully to this round, I think, or he has to just realize that he has to bow to the round right now. Playing the bear here is still fine, even though he would want to bow to the round if he does choose that line, because it stops Seleno Harpy carryover, which is an incredibly relevant thing.
True. Absolutely.
Yeah, he
I don't know. I mean, he's
Hunter.
Yeah, his win condition seems kind of diffuse here.
Yeah, like if he commits to this round, it means he has to rely on Ragnarok to carry him at some point in the round, but that's not a great plan, honestly, in this round yet.
Looks like he's going for that Hunter.
This is so risky. He's down 2 cards in the round.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like he is basically... He's either trying to 2-round, or he's hoping that he draws that Freya into next round to be able to have some kind of proper finisher.
So, like, he gets to deny a decent play here. Huge. Oh, but the Harpoon in the front row is so big there.
Yeah,
oh,
that bear just hit 7 points in a single turn. Here come the Shield Maidens to clean up.
They get to pop the Elemental too.
Yep, they're gonna pop the Elemental.
Bear is doing so much work.
Yep, and here we see the Yennefer tech on Mago, obviously. It's going
to ruin too. Oh, this is awful.
Yeah, the Yennefer, he is blocked out of playing Yennefer, and the thing is that the Earth Elementals are probably a bit of a tell that you're playing Yennefer. Like, Cameron, without knowing his deck list, could easily infer that the Yennefer is a threat, and could be somewhat confident that he doesn't have to worry about it this round because he's got that bear down. Because, of course, the bear will be killing the Unicorn or the Chironax before they come onto the board and are able to use their effect.
So at this point, he's locked into playing this round, right? He literally has to go for the 2-0 here with how deep he is in this round.
He has to. And Mago is possibly regretting he threw away those crones. He needs to be able to find one off the Frightener, and Frightener is the only spy that does not give you the option to choose a second card. So we'll have to see if he can find it, and even then, if it might end up being enough. I mean, without any answer to the Ragnarok, and even if he does draw the crones, without a incredible amount of value coming out from his hand, it's looking very bad for him.
Honestly, even like if he doesn't even play the Ragnarok here, can Mago even still win this?
I don't think so. I mean, the points just aren't here.
Yeah, his Woodland Spirit's an 8, his Yennefer is a 6, his Catechin will be like his best play to pull a 12 out of his graveyard. That's 16. He'd have to spend almost his entire hand here, not even counting anything out of Cameron's hand to win this round. This looks like it's a free 2-0, right?
Yep. He's getting completely 2-0'd here.
Maybe this goes back, honestly, like part of this round would be a little bit salvageable if he had kept that Water Hag for round 2.
Yep.
Like he played both of his weather effects. Like Dagon and Water Hag are his only ways to access non-fog effects in this matchup, unless he is playing Karanther. I didn't double check whether he is or not, but I can't imagine he can fit it in with this. If he is, even then though, it's still like not a great answer to Bear, because Bear then gets to live for 4 turns out of it, so it's still blocking a lot of your answers. He doesn't really get to run many tech options that can actually kill the Savage Bear here.
Yeah.
This is either like a soul read pass, or he's just... I don't know why you pass there. Like, don't you Grimace to just ensure that you win this round?
Yeah, I agree. It's a bit of a strange pass. It might not end up mattering because the opponent is going to have to really overcommit. Yeah, I like the Grimace in that scenario.
Yeah, at this point you've committed so much to this round.
Yeah, and some really high tempo plays like Crones plus 2 more plays can just win the game for Mago here, or not the game, but the round. And then when you've won the round, things are a lot more flexible.
Villain Trettenmirth would have done it too, probably. It would have cost him a lot to do it, but it would have popped off 21 points here.
Villain Trettenmirth plus Crones plus like one of the card, and that should take it.
Yeah, so that was a risky pass in my opinion. I think he should have just kept going deeper there, but it looks like, yeah, Mago could play his entire hand out and not have any answer to this. This is just
Yeah.
kind of insane.
The combo of the Savage Bear hitting all of the units he plays, plus the Ragnarok hitting him every turn, which hilariously enough is actually just getting one hit per row right now in terms of points. But yeah, this bear is just man, Mago just wants to play some units on his board, and Savage Bear says no.
Shutting it out.
He's completely smacking it out.
So let's see, he gets 6 here, but he's going to lose 3 next turn, so he's going to go +3 off of that. The Catacon's going to give him 16, he's going to get...
Here it is.
Yeah.
Smack!
Oh, that's the worst one in the world. You just played a vanilla 6-point gold.
And of course, that interaction is going to be gone next batch, but right now, Savage Bear just completely shuts out Yennefer from being able to work, and without any way to kill it, there's no way to reclaim this board. So Cameron is going to be taking round 1 of this series.
Yeah, the power of Savage Bear and the greediness of some monsters list not to run answers to it multiple times just kind of got to Mago there. So we're going to jump right into it. We're actually doing the reverse match of what we just saw, which is Mago is going to be on the Skellige now, and Cameron will be on the monsters deck. Initial thoughts on the mulligan here. Immediately, we already see that Savage Bear that we saw last round.
Yep, that's it. And we've seen Mago use the Wild Boar of the Sea. Now, the Wild Boar of the Sea is a card that many people on ladder, a majority of the Skellige players on ladder, have cut, but we see it used here because, of course, you can ban out the Nilfgaard, which is one of its biggest issues. So it's just an example of the tournament format being able to allow a lot of more interesting cards that are teched against really hard to win in such a diverse environment.
Yeah, interestingly enough, he actually got to play that. He's going to not have to worry about that matchup this time around, so he actually gets a pretty free pass with that since his opponent isn't playing Nilfgaard. He does also play Royal Decree and Renew in his deck, so his deck is entirely focused around getting Wild Boar of the Sea and getting as much value out of it as humanly possible. Yep. So this should be actually really interesting because this is a matchup where that value of Morkvarg over multiple rounds is going to be really big. We do see one interesting build here. Cameron is playing the fairly common build with Becker's Twisted Mirror in it. That card can actually swing rounds very heavily if the opponent doesn't have a Priestess of Freya out.
Yep, absolutely. The Becker's Twisted Mirror can potentially just really shut out many strategies that involve having high strength units, and those Clan Brockvar Hunters can be really, really great targets for them to scoop up. Now, if he goes further into the hand, he's risking drawing a second Crone. It looks like he
hit it,
but he didn't hit the Crone, but he did go deep for the round.
Yeah, no, he didn't. He got a Selena Harpy as his last hit there.
Yes.
So he set up pretty well actually here for the first round. He has a lot of the tools that he wants in this matchup. A lot of it here is going to just be, do we see who wins the coin flip?
Yeah.
Okay, so him hitting this first is actually big. I think he needs to lead off a Selena Harpy here. He has to try to dodge that Savage Bear immediately.
Yeah,
so he has 2 ways to do it.
Also, yeah. The fog is a nice answer to it. It's nice and preemptive. It means if he plays the bear now, if Mago plays the bear now, he concedes that his bear could just die because, of course, the Wyvern can come down and put it out of existence. So he might be interested in trying to block it with something else early on, which buys Cameron the time to play the Silentro Harpy here.
Do you just slam the Morkvarg?
He's going for the bear. I would have gone Morkvarg there.
Oh, that's so dangerous. Yeah, if your opponent has a Wyvern or like a Lacerate, which he has both answers in hand, actually, that's such a dangerous play on his side.
Yep. So here's the Wyvern coming out, getting that value 2 damage, just completely killing this bear before it can get too much value. And of course, there's no way to bring it back. And even if there was, there's just no way to protect it.
This is already looking like it's not a great start for Mago yet. It's going to take him a couple turns here to set up. That's one of the few downsides of the Croc deck right now, is it takes a long time to set up a lot of its value plays. So he's going to have to take a turn here to get Morkvarg out, then a turn for a light longship, then a turn for his Hunter, which gives Cameron plenty of time to set up how he wants to answer this board. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And he can get ahead of him with Ciri, given the fact that Mago is looking like he's going to start having to play slow and going to take damage to Fog. Cameron can get ahead of him with Ciri and force him to go several cards down to take it.
I actually like the Harpy play here. I hope he goes for it, because it means that if Mago wanted to recommit this round with another Savage Bear, he can't do that now. Like, he got the value up before the Savage Bear could hit, right?
Yep.
It's a huge deal, I think. But, like, he can't ever pull ahead. So here we see Mago. That Croc positioning is that questionable? Maybe not. I guess it does block in case the Morkvarg dies. It'll come back outside of that, so it won't get wounded anymore. So I guess that's fine here. Some matchups you don't want to do that. You'd actually rather have that side available to you. But given the weather effects here and what the matchup is, I think it's fine.
So we're going to see the Drowner completely disrupting the Morkvarg's positioning. Obviously, it pulls it out of the wild boar range. The boar is not going to be able to buff it every single turn. And you can see the Becker's Twisted Mirror is lined up here for an 18-point play. He's probably not going to want to elect to use it that early necessarily, but the window is open for him too.
You know, I actually would have preferred that he mulligan that looking at his hand now. If he can, he doesn't want it till round 3, right? He needs to hold it so he can pull that Giant Hunter later.
Yep. It's more of a round 3 tool generally in this matchup.
So we're looking at Mago's hand right now. He actually has all the tools that he wants for this round. The question becomes if he can actually play them out at a rate that's fast enough to eclipse what the Monsters player does. At this point, Cam has a pretty decent setup overall. He has multiple weather effects still in hand. He has Gels to thin through his deck and find the right answer that he wants. He is guaranteed to hit the Will and Spirit whenever he wants to hit it. He doesn't want to do that yet, though. It's much better if he waits till next round for it.
Yeah, it's very early for it. So here he drops the Siri. Siri puts a bit of pressure on Mago, who now basically has to stay ahead of Cameron at any point so that he doesn't risk going 2 or rather even 3 cards down.
Honestly, looking at Cameron's hand, this isn't a great round for him anymore. Like, what does he do at this point? If he Gels and he bricks and pulls a Crone as the silver side of that, he doesn't really have a great play off of it.
He can't do much. Yeah, he looks like he has to get out.
Yeah, last rate's not good. He just has to give the round up for a card. That's actually not great for him.
I think Becker's was the only play, but that's such an aggressive play, and it's using such a valuable tool later. Yeah, you really just have to get out here.
So we see him here might be actually punished just by what his keep was, not getting rid of that Becker's. Yeah. Like if he had found like a Wyvern or another Harpy or anything there that could keep him in the round, it would have been much better for him. And here he's still so far behind on the board that it takes him at least probably 2 cards actually to win this round, unless he wants to commit his Crones to it. He's down 10 points to start off.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess Dagon and Will and Spirit do it if he wants to.
And
but
he can't risk doing anything with his hand because he's drawing Crones on the risk if he does.
Yeah. I don't know. This hand isn't looking great for him, to be honest.
It isn't. It isn't. It might have been necessary for him to take that risk, possibly.
And Mago has double Priestess in hand, so he can get that Savage Bear back immediately if he wants to and just start pressuring the round. Same as we saw last game, actually. Just Savage Bear taking the game over.
Yep, absolutely. It has a more limited range of applications here in terms of like what it's able to deny given the hands, but it's still a really major value threat.
Yeah, and Cam doesn't have quite the same list that Mago did. Mago was a little bit more focused on the Death Rattle effects with the Earth Elemental, and he was playing Necro Warrior to copy his Foglet. So he was a little bit more committed to that wide board strategy, whereas Cam goes a little bit taller with Archgriffin, Drowner copies, things of that nature. But the issue is that he still gets punished by it, right? That Bear still represents like 10 points value that otherwise wouldn't be answered by that deck fairly easily. So
it looks like Cameron is very prone to getting forced out of this round based on the hands. Like Mago, he's got a hand that says, you know, he's Skellige, he's going to push this round really hard. He's going to increase his unit strength overall, and he's going to use Armor Smith to just slam as a finisher, and Cameron doesn't have a great answer to that. The one thing I see is later on into this round a little bit, he's going to have to use the Cameron Thayer Lacerate combo. That's really his only way of trying to defend his win conditions from being forced out, which are Crones and Becker's Twisted Mirror here.
Well, the issue with Karanther and Frost in general in this matchup is that it gives Brockvar Hunter so much value. Like that card then gets 2 procs a turn, and he's not playing Catachan in his deck. He has no way to interact with that graveyard.
Yep. Yeah,
this could actually go really poorly for him if he's not very careful here.
Okay, pretty powerful rally. Getting at this Slencher Harpy, securing a little bit more value later.
But again, one thing we have to look at here is the fact that he's been holding that Becker's Twisted Mirror right the entire time, and we said at the very beginning that this is one of his few win cons in this matchup in round 3. Like it's one of the ways that he can just secure the entire thing. But Mago has 2 priestesses. He's burning 1 here, but if he holds that other one the entire round and gets it in round 3, Cameron's used 2 of his Selena Harpies already. He's only going to have 1 left in his deck that he can possibly draw that's a 1. And if he doesn't, he might not be able to actually interact with that priestess. He'd have to hold a Lacerate for it, right? Or put it into a Weather with a Karanther. If he can't remove that priestess, or if Mago sets it up so that's his last play before the Beckers, he's just locked out of that card.
Yep. So here we see the Frightener forcing the Hunter out of the melee row so it stops growing, but unfortunately it draws Cameron one of his other Crones, which really hurts his ability to carry on to this round, and also guarantees that he's going to need to use his mulligan for that going into round 3, which makes him doubly susceptible to drawing the last Crone and having 2 Crones regardless, but it also forces him to keep options like Siri, which he might not have necessarily wanted if it was a possibility.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah, it just enables Mago to pressure him even more. And Mago's completely aware that there is a chance that that card is a crone, which hurts his viability to be able to pressure this round.
Now, Mago still does get to get a little bit of pressure out of the round here. He can show Maiden here, he'll shoot the Seleno Harpy, shoot his Morkvarg once, and then pull the other crone and kill something else. He has the Armor Smith in hand, so he can go ahead and do a play like that. I don't like that ping, I don't think. I think I would have preferred him pinging the front row. I know it gives him one less proc on the Brockvar Hunter, but it's 2 health that he get to get back with the Armor Smith if he wants to commit to that type of a round.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So it looks like this is the Carrot there. I mean, this is his Hail Mary. This is his play to basically just try to force out the round. It looks like he's dragging them Siege, which is really, really confusing to me.
I guess he wants to drag them all off the Brockvar Hunter, but I don't agree with this at all. I put everything in the range throw and just go ham on that. Like, you can get 10 points off of it, followed by 9 points. That's huge. Like, yeah, you lose 2 a turn to the Brockvar Hunter, but I think the trade-off for that's well worth it, honestly. Also, so one thing with Karanther that people realize after a couple days with the newest patch with him, his effect lets you actually choose the order that cards go in, right? So he could have set this up where if he dragged everything into the range throw, he could have put that light longship on the very right side of it, so it wouldn't be getting any procs here. So the only thing that would be getting anything still left would be the combo that's left already in that row, which is the light longship and the Brockvar Hunter. So it looks like Mago's going to duck out here. It's still going to cost Cam only 1 card here, right? The Lacerate can do it?
The Lacerate procs the Morkvarg. It reses the Morkvarg.
Oh, you're right. What's the Morkvarg at then? Is it high enough that it would still win it?
I think so.
He's clearing the row there, right? It would be 12. Yeah, and here again, if he'd pulled all this into the range throw, though, he could have just
the Lacerate on the range throw does take it here if he does set up that Karen there for everything. So I mean the Lacerate shouldn't do it here.
Yeah, I don't know that he has a play here other than playing his crones, but that's awful if he plays the crones into it. Well, he's going to get 6 in the back row, so he's counting here if he can do the 6 there plus what Lacerate would do if he does a different row.
And of course, he absolutely needs to keep the Gales in hand because the Woodland Spirit it represents a large amount of his power, and in addition to that, his Becker's Twisted Mirror target even. So yeah, there's that Lacerate.
He's getting so punished for playing that Karanthar in the wrong row.
Yep. So it looks like he just has to play a crone here, right? I mean, even if he wants to use mirror, he's going for a 50-50. If he wanted to use mirror, he would have done it last turn. And
you can't play the Gels if you pull a crone and a Woodland Spirit there, then you're just playing his solo crone.
Yep.
I mean, actually, that might have been the better play, wouldn't it? Because he either pulls the Water Hag for a Lacerate, or he gets the crone, plays the Vanilla crone, then he can mulligan the second crone back, and he still gets that double crone play, right?
Yeah, I mean, but you lock yourself out of your... Well, you top deck the Woodland Spirit, and then you... That might have actually been proper in a very strange way.
Yeah, and then he still has the chance to pull the Seleno Harpy then in the 3rd round, whereas here he might not have as good of a shot for it, and that's kind of what he needs the Seleno Harpy to be able to counteract if his opponent has a Priestess so he can get that Becker's off. Like, he's locked into a specific play pattern here that he might not want.
Yep. So he's getting rid of his superfluous crone here. He's got his Gales for the Woodland Spirit, his Beckers for the swap with one of his little wolves, which he has high odds for.
Yeah, he did find the Water Hag, which could be pretty relevant here. Oh, but Mago finds the Road Decree off the top. That's huge, actually, for this deck, because now he has access to both Igni and Wild Boy of the Sea, or he can pull back Karanthar if he wants to. Karanthar could actually blow this round out. Because he can, he can Road Decree into Renew and then take Karanthar.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if he does that into the Woodland Spirit, if he Woodland Spirits early, he can't get a decent Beckers off.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really, really hard to win against the amount of power Skellige can do without getting that mirror off.
So he's going for the early Hunter here. And this will start growing then, but again, this game has become all focused entirely around that Becker's Twisted Mirror and what will happen with it.
Yep.
I wonder if Cam put this in the back row and kind of show his hand of the Beckers. He is.
There he goes, yeah.
So Mago should know now at this point, if he's putting the Rain on a single card like that, it means almost assuredly that his opponent has a Becker's Twisted Mirror in hand. So he should actually be playing this the rest of this turn and the rest of this round, knowing that situation's about to happen.
Yeah, and like you said, the Decree onto the Renew onto the Carrion Theer forces out the fog or the dogs, and Mago's card advantage is able to support that strategy.
I wonder what his best res is here with Sigdrifa, since he knows that there's a Becker's in his opponent's hand and he knows his opponent gets to go last. Do you just go for like the smallest play that you possibly can?
I promise you a quick death.
Oh no, he does get the last play.
Mago has the last play here, yeah. It's a pretty tough scenario for Cameron. I mean, he needs to use that Woodland Spirit here, putting the fog down on the ranged row.
There's
and
that grunt.
He's trying to enable his BTM. He is getting good value out of it. And the weather is going to start ticking down, honestly. Like, even if the Caranthir does answer these foglets, it has a finite application, and the weather is ticking down, so it's going to be kind of close.
Was Maga supposed to get, sorry to interrupt, was Maga supposed to go Sigdriffit into Savage Bear there? Because then he can roll Decree into the Caranthir to kill off the Woodland Spirit tokens, if he expects that. Because then his opponent won't have any kind of board left, right? He can't put down a 1 or a 2 then.
Yeah, that might have actually been proper, and the Sigdrifa would have it would have been 1 strength on the mirror turn, right? That's correct.
Yep.
As well. So
see what he goes for here. It should be the Caranthir play. Yep. So it's going to be a great Beckers though. Like this Beckers is only going to be for what, 10 points? It'll be a 1 into a 6. It'll be 10 points.
Well, it represents even less than that because it allows the fog on the melee row to
you're right.
hit things that are going to buff the hunter as well.
Caranthir betraying right now. And it looks like Maga's going to take this out. Doesn't really matter what he pulls here, right?
Yep.
He just grabs back
into anything. He's going to go ahead and take this.
Nice. So Mega pulls this one out actually. Now he's seen twice in a row the SK matchup against the Monsters deck, just crushing it. So good matchup there. Going into the next one, it looks like we're going to have Mago and Nilfgaard against Monsters with Cameron. Going right into it. Now, what do we expect from this matchup, Swim?
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, this isn't even super regular Nilfgaard. This is Mago's own deck. This is the, it's basically a Siri Dash deck that uses thinning tools as well as Alchemist plus Foot Soldiers to achieve its value.
Yeah, I actually played against Proneo playing a similar strategy a few weeks ago back in one of the Good Gaming tournaments. It's actually really efficient at thinning through the entire deck. One thing right off the bat that we've already seen in Mago's hand, he has 2 Nausicaa Standard Bearers in hand already. That's actually a huge tool to have in this matchup. Whether it's saving units that won't die to a fog effect or something like that would die if you need their effect. He has both those and Vanhamar early, so there's going to be no weather effects for Cameron out of this game.
Yeah. Oh, and knowing Mago's deck from experience as well, you can in the later stages of the game use a Seer to put standard bears back in your deck, or possibly like 1 standard bear in addition to a Vanhammer if you really do want to shut down weather even more. We see the Roach going
suicidal Roach
as it always does.
Well, this will draw a really early standard bear. Like I can't imagine a world where he doesn't just go standard bear here. You can't play the Calvite into this, right? What he is? That seems. That's greedy, honestly.
Yeah, it would seem so.
Yeah, well, he does manage to pull the pikeman here. In this situation, it's not that bad. He does need to clear this off immediately, though. Oh, and Cameron gets the kill with it. So now he gets punished for that greed.
Yeah, Maga's play is good, but the Wyvern definitely is able to really punish him for it. Like, Maga's play is basically opening him up the possibility of being able to Vanhamar 2 weathers as an option, but the Wyvern shutting it down means that the Fog taking once for 8 value is really, really hurting the amount of value he's able to put on or keep on the board.
Yeah, and if he plays the standard bear, he then gets to make a 6-point roach. He can put the standard bear on a different row if he wants, and then it's a 6 dividing up his 3s then, so he gets even a bit more of a buffer in case he has another weather for the front row. I'm not a huge fan of that play, honestly. I think he just sacrificed way too many points on the off chance his opponent didn't have a Wyvern or a Lacerate or some kind of removal, but he knows his opponent plays multiple removal spells. He saw that last game. He saw the Lacerate, he saw the Wyverns, he already saw Water Hag. He knows these tools exist.
Okay, so here we see Cameron getting that Gales off of the Avalok. The Gales is here going to represent the Woodland Spirit. He has the Seleno Harpies as his just proactive plays here. Looks like he's going to start dropping them out.
Yeah, this looks like a really good board for Cam, honestly. Overall, he has all the tools that he needs. He has Drowner to pull something into the Frog if he wants to. He has all of his Frogs out of his deck. He has multiple Seleno Harpies already, so he has all the tools he needs for this round. The one thing that might be an issue for him to close this round out is that the Nilfgaard deck has just a massive amounts of points that it can play, right? It has so many strong units. He has the play here with Alchemist plus... what are they called? Dalaran Foot Soldiers?
Yeah, the Dalaran Foot Soldiers.
Yeah, it's an 11-point play immediately, so he can just keep spamming constant strength to the board. And he already has large gold bodies on the board at this point, so it's actually going to be a little bit difficult. It looks like he might just try to take a decent play here. He's behind a little bit. He can play the Frightener here, but if the Frightener draws him a Crone, he's in big trouble.
Yeah, Mago's deck is very, very potent. The Daylorn plus the Alchemist is a very, very strong combo, and it allows you to thin through your deck so fast. Mostly just vulnerable to Skellige, which he banned out from this matchup.
Also important here, he just drew Will and Spirit off of that, so he's out of goals in his deck now for Gels. Gels can only pull a silver unless he mulligans one of those away, and right now his silvers in his deck are a Water Hag, a Beckers, and 2 Crones, so he's only at 50-50 to even find anything useful off that Gels right now.
Yep. He would have to Crone first if he wants to be able to not just take a huge gamble with Gales.
Yeah, and we're seeing one issue here. One of the developments with monsters as a deck has been that people want to hold their Crones now to round 3 for that huge point swing in round 3. The mulligan change has helped that a lot, actually, for the deck.
Is he drowning that Frightener?
Is he? No, you can't drown that, right? It doesn't do anything here.
It sets up the Lacerate on the Pikeman.
Is that worth it, though? You've already gotten rid of one of them. It's only pulling one out of the deck at that point.
Yeah, and the fact that Mago isn't clearing it is a bit threatening. I guess he's, I mean, it's from Cameron's hand. He doesn't have a lot of proactive plays. He's too behind to really want to commit the Siri.
Oh, and he gets the buff here too, so that's never going to die at this point.
Yep.
So one of the things here, and this might be one of the traps he's falling into here, is that he's not going to slam his Crones yet. I don't think he's going to try to hold it for round 3. Yeah. And in general, with that might be one of those mistakes that people are starting to do with that deck. That they think they always have to do that, and this might be a situation where he's going to have to spend them early. So we'll see if he recognizes that and whether he actually fights for this round or not. He did win the coin flip, which means he can Siri at any point if he can get ahead, and then he can go multiple cards. But I don't see him getting ahead of this board. There's just no way he can do it.
Yeah, I completely agree with the Crones personally. Like we might see them come out yet because it might not even be time to play them yet. He's trying to develop some stacking of the rows with his Lacerate and with the Frost. Now we can expect this Frost to get cleared because it represents much more of a threat than the Fog before. But it's got to be the Crones very, very soon if he wants to drop them at all in this round, or if he just wants to give it up. But giving it up is very wasteful with the Siri in his hand as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Dagon next turn, actually. He needs to have a big point swing, and his only way to do it right now without his Crones is his Dagon. So he can Dagon Fog the front row, or he could just Dagon Frost into a Lacerate,
Dagon
honestly.
Frost. Yeah, I like Frost better.
Frost is better, but it actually represents less points, I think, overall, doesn't it? Because Lacerate next turn would clear off most of the row anyway. And it gives him 6 additional points. I think I might like Fog better here. Like, he needs those points off the Foglets, right?
Yeah, that might be true. If he's expecting the Van Humar to not get cleared, the Fog ends up representing much more of a stable body on the board. But it looks like he is going to be clearing it.
What if Mago just goes full aggression here and just damages the board?
Yeah.
He didn't here, but like if he had, I actually don't think that's the worst play he could have done there. Just popping the eggs and stopping the carryover would be such a aggressive line that if he wins that round, it just wins in the game.
Absolutely.
So,
So
is he going to commit the Woodland here?
it looks like he's going to, yeah.
Whoa, that is huge. This is every one of his weather effects almost. Yeah, he has what? He has
basically
one Fog left?
he's holding onto these Crones and just completely banking on them, bailing him out later. One of the things I like about using the Crones earlier than the Woodland Spirit is that it frees up your Gales, which in this case, being able to use something like a Water Hag is kind of nice if you happen to hit it, if you're pushed into a corner. So
Yeah,
Mago
I think
Mago's giving up the round, going 1 card down here, and he does have the Lacerate to be able to take it if he wants. He looks like he's considering if he wants to drop the Archgriffin instead. That's the only other option here, Lacerate or Archgriffin.
They're both honestly terrible cards in future rounds, right? Mago's never going to have a stacked board like this again, and he's never going to play a weather effect, so it doesn't really matter which one he loses. The one thing about Archgriffin is that since we do know that Mago's deck plays Bork, it will offset his Crones plus the Archgriffin, will mean it's an 8 and a 7 die instead of 2 6s.
Yep, that 7 value is actually enabling the Archgriffin to achieve probably higher value than the Lacerate in that scenario, although Mago's deck can add more units to its deck. I mean, you can with a 0 you put back Roach, etc., and in theory the Lacerate could hit like 6 or 9 value, nothing terrible. But
can he afford to use his mulligan here, Cameron? If he hits a Crone, he's in trouble,
absolutely
isn't he?
not. He's super in trouble.
What if you pitch a Crone there? How crazy is that?
It's pretty pointless, I think. Like, what are you really fishing for?
Well, the nice thing here, honestly, I could see him just bowing out of this round immediately right here. Play the Siri, then pass, pitch it back next turn, and maybe Gels it out. It'll depend on what he draws for his turn, though, if he can do that or not. And it's also, again, dangerous there if he pulls a Crone.
Yep. So his Harpies carryover allows him to play the Siri and be able to stay ahead. Now, generally, what you will see is you will see Siri in the beginning of round 2 having very limited value because it usually gives the opponent enough of a window to get ahead of her anyway, but the Harpies really help secure that from happening.
Yeah. And we're seeing him just kind of, not even get pressured out of the round yet, but he doesn't really have a high tempo play right here to fight back onto the board. So he might have to actually bleed an extra card more than he would want to. Like right now they're on even cards if Cameron passes right here. Because Mago has to play one more card, they end the round at 4, and then he'll go up a card off the series. The issue here is that Mago's hand is very set up. He has 2 more draw spells in his hand, so he's going to thin through his entire deck. Especially he can actually get the entire way through his deck right now if he draws another Alchemist out of his deck.
Oh, looks like he's committing the Crowns.
Wow.
Crowns go out. He's trying to force a lot more out of Mago.
But why would you commit the Crones this round if you couldn't? If you didn't want to commit them first round, committing it here is just such a big deal.
I mean,
I like it.
It's very possible he's anticipating the Bork and trying to force it out. Because the Bork here has a very hard time achieving that much value in this round. It's hitting both the Alchemist and the Brewess equally. And naturally, when you're behind, you do have the option to play Cantarella, but he's very behind.
Oh, but he can just play Cantarella and then play the Daler and Foot Soldier out, right? Like, this isn't that bad of a play for Mago, and then he still gets to sit on Tibor plus a draw spell.
It's not enough. The Bork is going to scorch the Alchemist as well. Alchemist is sitting at 8. It's just a 10-point Bork.
It's a plus 10, plus... Oh, there's Peter. Does that do anything here? No, right?
No. It does nothing. He has to play out 2 more cards.
Oh, Albrick actually doesn't draw either, so that's also a problem here.
Yep, and even if he did want to play Albrick, it would have to be after the Bork goes off.
He can't Peter anything here. He just makes a 9-point play out of it, so he has to play the Tibor dry, I think.
He might have to.
He gains 10 up to 38.
Yeah.
He needs 11 points here, so he'll probably wind up playing the Albrick and the Daler and Foot Soldier out just vanilla for what they are.
Yeah, he has to.
The Tibor's more valuable, right? Plus, if he still draws, he has a Siri Dash left in his deck, so if he can hit the Siri Dash here, then he still has, what, 40 points in gold bodies?
Is it 40? Did he?
No, it's 37.
It's only 37. Yep. 37 in gold bodies compared to the Gales and the 2 draws Cameron is gonna have. That might end up being very close if we see the Siri Dash coming through here.
Well, a really big thing here too is that we already know that Mago's seen this entire deck, right? He knows all the silvers and all the golds in this deck. Yeah, there's the Beckers. So here's the issue with that: is Beckers is completely dead against this too. Like that card is just dead. But we also know that now the Gales is dead too. He's played all of his
37
golds.
points.
Yeah,
Gales is completely dead.
Yeah,
How do you make this up?
You're playing 9 vanilla points in gold, and your opponent made that up in 1 card here, plus extra. The Wyvern's dead. The Archgriffen's dead. Yeah, this looks like it's impossible for Cameron to pull out.
Yeah, there's no numbers here. I mean, the rally, there's only very few things he can rally into. He just can't achieve that much value.
Tibor at worst is a 6. So he's getting 13 points between the Tibor and the First Light at worst. He's getting 13 or 14 points guaranteed, right?
Yep.
So we know that his low end then is 15 plus 7 is 22 plus 6 is 28. So he's getting either 28 or 29 points. So his max value here is 29 or 30. So Tibor just crushes that. He literally can't win this because he went through all of his cards early like that, spent his Crones the last round to force out the Bork early, and Mago just has too much gold strength. That's nuts. Given what Mago had to give up last round, that is insane. That top deck series is such a big deal here. He did have a good chance of hitting it, but if he hadn't actually hit that, this game would have been probably over, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely very awkward, but we can see the strength of Siri Dash here. A lot of people are questioning her inclusion to the deck, and not sure how she can be good if she can only gain that much value, but being able to increase the odds of drawing just another high value gold in round 3 that the opponent can't interact with is very powerful, in addition to just preventing your deck from overdrawing ever.
Yeah, absolutely. So we know this game's over. We know this game's over at this point. Going to the next game, it looks like we're gonna actually have the Skellige mirror match now. So what do you think about that? Looking into it, we can get a little bit of a head start here.
Their decks were very, very similar, correct? I mean, what were the variants? They were.
Cameron is much more control heavy with the Hjalmar plan with the Holger Blackhand. He's playing core with it, whereas
Mago was more greedy.
Yeah, Mago is full on the Wild Boar, the Sea Train. Now that actually might help him out here because since Cameron's such a controlling deck, he can't really deal with that Wild Boar of the Sea. That Wild Boar of the Sea is going to get a lot of value over the turn. So if he can draw these rounds out into very long turns, he actually is going to get a lot of value that really can't get interacted with well.
Yeah, Wild Boar this he can absolutely crush in these mirrors. Absolutely. Just the insane amount of pressure it puts on the opponent is really, really strong. And he's even got the Renew in addition to the Royal Decree into the Renew. So in theory, even if Cameron tries to duck out of the Wild Boar to shut down its value, Mago really, really has a good chance of getting it back in round 2, which can just stomp the mirror.
And then in the mirror, you know what I'm going to say right for the mirror, right? How you win the mirror? You play the round 3 Savage Bear first.
Yes.
Each of them is only playing 1 Savage Bear, but this is the kind of matchup where you want to be pretty greedy with your Priestess of Freya's, right? You want to save them for the 3rd round. You want to get the biggest Brock for Hunters possible there. Whoever gets first play 3rd round has a very high chance of winning this game because they get to go Priestess into a Savage Bear. So a lot of this game will hinge actually on who wins round 1. If you win round 1, you have an extremely high chance of winning the entire game because you get the first play round 3. The only way that doesn't happen is if you then 2-0 your opponent. So we see Mago actually with a pretty strong lead here. One unfortunate thing for him is that he did open Morkvarg plus ADC, which means that his Croc or his ADC is going to pull something that's suboptimal. He has the Morkvarg plus the Olgierd as his 2 priority targets for those 2, so you never really want to see both like 2 of ADC, Olgierd, or Morkvarg. You only want one of those, right?
Yep. Looks like Mago is going to be dropping a Hunter to hurt the bear a little bit. Start growing from the Wild Boar. Now, typically, it doesn't come back every round automatically like a Morkvarg does, but since you end up resing it, it's totally fine to take a turn away from buffing up your Morkvarg here.
I was just going to say, do you Shield Maiden here? Like, do you actually... You don't kill the bear off here, right?
You'd have to... I mean, you'd have to hit your own Shield Maiden.
Yeah, like, the thought here, though, is if you kill off the bear, then you deny his Shield Maidens. Whereas, like, if he does it this way, his opponent gets to just chain Shield Maidens if he wants to, like, guaranteed. It's an interesting line, actually. I wonder if that was the right line for him to take here. But it looks like Mago's just going to go for the double Hunter play on the Savage Bear. He wants that out of the way immediately.
Whoa.
Oh, he's not. Whoa.
That means he's looking to kill it with a Shield Maiden, right? That has to be what that means. Which means, and then it's a big telegraph for that too. Although there's nothing Cameron can really do about it except for using a decoy or something like that. Very, very committal in that point.
I'll be really interested to see if Mago does what we were talking about earlier, where he just holds the Savage Bear for round 3. You don't have to do that. You can save the Priestess for it, but if you can hold it the whole way through, then your opponent has no way of stopping you from getting it round 3, right? Normally, I
think he is, yeah.
Like, I've played this matchup a lot. I've actually played a lot of Mago's build of this deck because I like it a lot. I like being greedy with Wild Boar of the Sea, and this is one of those situations where if you hold Savage Bear the entire game, your opponent would never suspect that it happens. They'd think you'd slam it pretty early in round 1 if you have it, and then round 3 it just blows them out because they'll settle multiple Priestesses and they just lose. Cameron goes for the really early pass. Whoa, that's
again, it's that trying to deny boar value, man. Wild Boar absolutely stomps the mirrors. If you have no way to block it or no way to prevent it from going off, the amount of value it gives you is just game winning. And now if Mago can draw into one of his other Wild Boars, which are Renew or Royal Decree into Renew, if he mulligans and finds it, then that boar value is just going to keep coming. I mean, Mago's deck is very, very teched for the mirror in that way.
He didn't even force out, like, he didn't even force Mago out of, like, any of his resources that matter there, right? And Mago still already has a stocked grave for Priestess if he wants it. He only needs 2 things in the graveyard, really, because you're not really going to keep more than 2 res effects in your hand. He only has 1 anyway, so, like, he does not deny any cards from Mago's hand. Mago's entire hand here is live, and he could force his entire round as deep as he wants now.
Yep, and we see Mago mulliganing away the Morkvarg. He wants to get him back with a crouch to increase his strength.
I remember what you were saying there about denying Priestess value. Mago's down 1 card, which is nothing in this matchup. 1 card does not mean much like it does in other matchups. And here's a Savage Bear that he held the entire time. That means that Cameron's currently on a 9-card hand until he removes that, and he can't with this current hand. Yeah, there's literally no way he can do it.
I mean, well,
oh, no, so he can Hunter and Decoy, sorry. That's his only way of removing that bear. And then Mago just goes Priestess.
There's Grimmist for Weathers, and then there's also, Coral if you want to be cheeky, but it is very possible, but very, very costly.
Can he kill it twice? Is the question, because if he kills it once, that instantly telegraphs to Mago that he's relying on Priestesses in hand, and he has multiple of them. You would never kill it if you only have 1 Priestess here. So if he kills this immediately, Mago should immediately Priestess it. Like, there's just 100% what he should do. So we'll see what he does here in response.
Absolutely, and it's going to be awkward because one of the very few ways he has to keep that bear in the ground is to Grimmist for Fog, and his window for doing that and hitting the bear is gone.
Yeah, well, what Mago could have done there is if he recognized this play and thought that he was going to go that deep on it, if he had immediately Shield Maiden that, he actually just, like, denies him entirely. He has to then Fog and have the Fog stick. He can't actually kill it then otherwise.
Yep. And Mago can even keep it alive with Shield Smiths as well as resing it with Freya if he really wants to go all in for this bear, just shutting out Cameron's round 2 here.
Yeah, this is just basically a game of chicken at this point for Mago. It's seeing whether or not Mago wants to commit deep enough in this, and if he recognizes the position that his opponent's in. It's really hard to call this kind of a play. Cameron hasn't committed enough to the bear at this point that you expect this to be his entire line. But if Mago recognizes it at some point in the next couple turns, he can actually make this just a nightmare for Cameron.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Mago is sitting with basically all of the tools here. The question is, I mean, can he get enough value out of just putting the pressure in this round to be able to secure the game?
Yeah, I could see the issue with Mago is if he doesn't recognize that position and if he starts trying to go all in, or if he bows out at the wrong point here, right? If he bows out at the wrong point, then Cameron gets that first play in round 3, and he gets the Priestess play first on the Savage Bear. So we have to see here. Now, this should be just a clear sign immediately for Mago of what Cameron's intentions are this round. You never want to spend a decoy on a hunter like that unless you have a specific reason for it, and you just committed 3 points into a 1-point Savage Bear. That's an incredibly easy telegraph there.
You've got to expect a Freya. I mean, unless Mago doesn't have a Freya, there's always going to be a Freya coming down there, and that's really, really going to hurt him this round. The window to fog is gone.
He's double checking there with the fog to see if it's highest or lowest. I've done that too sometimes. It's one of those things you mix up which is which, so you're double checking. Yeah. He's in a world of trouble right now.
Yep, he sure is.
So now to clear it, he'd actually have to commit Coral plus Sigdrifa on the Brock for Hunter, right?
Yes.
Wait, he didn't have one in the graveyard. He decoyed it, right? He has no way to get it. He actually can't clear the bear. Yeah, he has to rally into a clear effect like a hunter.
Yeah, rally into a hunter does it.
This is bad. This is really bad.
It smells of shutout. The Shield Maidens are just going to completely destroy that, providing huge value at the same time.
And he can also whiff that rally. If that rally hits a Priestess of Freya, he is done.
I mean, what he could do is he could grimace to roar his Brock for a Hunter to be able to reuse it off the Sigdrifa.
But then he's still committing a Coral to that too, right?
Oh yeah.
So he has to commit Grimace, Coral, and Sigdrifa for that play.
Yeah, even if you want to do that, that's definitely I think he's thinking about it.
Yeah, I wonder if Mago just leaves after this play though. The Coral into that is a huge committal, and it actually puts him ahead to the point where if Mago wants to, he could bow out here, but I don't think you do, right? You can always play the ADC and the Emerald Smiths here without any kind of a downside to it, really.
Yeah.
You don't want them around 3 anyway. You want them now.
Yep. Yeah, Mago is never gonna leave up the pressure here. Like the Olgierd and the Shield Smiths are always gonna come out and force more. He's trying to Hail Mary that Hunter.
Oh, if this is a Priestess, he is just game over. Hit escape key.
He's thinking about it. I mean, he really has no other line of play. He has to.
He could fog here if you wanted to start that train going down. It would then next turn hit just the ship, but then the ship just stops at every turn. Like the ship bricks his fog.
Shield Maiden to kill the bear. That'll do it.
Okay, that's fine.
That'll absolutely do it. So that
but now he gets that.
Relieved.
Yeah, so that's actually fine for him, but it's not even great for him, right? Because he still has to commit more cards in this round. Mago's already been in such a dominant position because he had to commit so many resources into that Savage Bear.
And Mago does have both the Olgierd and the Morkvark. He's getting a better carryover for the next round.
The one thing I can say here is that if Cameron can only spend the first light and the one Priestess here, he's actually not in a bad spot. He has Grimace to make he can Priestess res something next round into Grimace killing the Priestess for a Savage Bear.
Yep.
So it's not an awful spot for him yet.
Yeah, Mago is effectively conceding there that he doesn't want to force out. That was his last turn when he played the first Shield Smith. That was his last opportunity to force a card out of Cameron, and he knew it because he knew the Hunter was going to come down on the Lord of Unvik, or something was going to kill it and force out value. So he is basically trying to force the round 3 to be very, very short and force the opponent, Cameron here, out of
really interesting.
All his resources.
I'm not sure I like this, actually. Wouldn't you rather just play a Priestess? Nah, I guess not. Resing the bear anyway is more points.
Yeah.
This is committal if you...
Yeah.
If Mago pulls a Priestess into a Savage Bear, he loses this game now, right?
Yeah. So the consideration is, either the Morkvark or the Freya. Hitting the Morkvark is a lot more pressure here. Hitting the Freya would allow the Morkvark to be alive in round 3. So he hits the Morkvark, resing it back up at full strength. You can see the full 12 there. It's going to be coming back as a 9 with the Olgierd as a 7 next round, and he's ahead here. Is this going to force out both of Cameron's cards? It is, right?
It
Does
might
he even
here.
have this?
Yeah, it forces both of them.
Wait, does he even have
Right?
this? The Longship.
Longship
I
gives
mean,
him
Mago's
to a
ticking.
turn.
Mago's ticking to a turn.
Longship takes 2 a turn too. Does he
Yeah.
have it? I think it
Shield-
spends both cards here.
The Shield Maiden is going to be very, very close here. The Longships are canceling each other
This
at
is
this
not
point.
a guaranteed at this point.
Yeah, the Shield Maiden has it, but he's going to be going into round 3 with no resources against the bigger Mark Vargand Olgjerd.
Yeah. I don't know. I think he was supposed to Priestess first before playing the Gremist. I don't know if that actually changes. Yeah, because it would have given him, what, 1 more point? Does that actually matter to this or no?
No. No, it still forces out the same
Yeah, it
amount
still
of cards.
does, you're right. Oh, please don't shoot the wrong thing here.
Yeah.
if he had shot the Savage or the bear there. Oh, it ties. What?
So I mean, what's
Oh,
the,
no, it doesn't. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Triggers
What's
first.
what's the top of the deck here that saves Cameron? Because this is, I mean, it's a really, really bad
Priestess of
scenario for
Freya?
Cameron here.
And then Mago bricks on a useless card. That's like
It
it.
has to be a really big brick.
It's like a D Shackles. That's not
There's
gonna
the
do
Coral. That's not a brick.
it. Oh wait, Mago's playing Coral on this list?
Yes.
Huh. I wonder what he cut for it then. The Igni maybe?
Yeah, he cut the Igni. He's using
Okay.
Coral, Royal Decree, Renew, and Wild Boar.
Okay, that
Okay,
makes sense.
and we see Mago taking the series 3-1.